All right, welcome back to another Red Corner, boys. How we doing? I am reporting from Cleveland, Ohio, of all places. We'll get into that. We'll get into a lot today. As we were just talking before the show, there's a lot to dive into today. We're approaching the All-Star break, right, boys? We have some good news, some bad news with, the All-Star snubs, the All-Stars that got in. We got some Bryce Harper we're going to talk about. We got some Andrew Painter. We got some Zack Wheeler. We got a lot we're going to get into today. But, guys, if you're watching, if you're listening, please do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button. Thank you for joining the Red Corner. And, boys, let's start off with a little bit positive note here. How about Zack Wheeler? I want to start off with him because the positive stuff is, we don't talk about that enough. So Zack Wheeler, I feel like the internet kind of simultaneously decided that we got to have the conversation of his legacy. So, Bones, let's start with you here, man. Where are you at on this whole Zack Wheeler compared to Halliday, all that stuff?
So I actually had a text earlier this week about is Wheeler on a certain player's level, and I said no, not yet. He's most likely trending towards that direction, and we'll likely get there. And I know Chris is going to call me a homer already, but I don't think he's at the Cole Hamels level yet for Philadelphia.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Just because he doesn't have the years that Hamels almost 10 years here. Wheeler's at 5.5. A lot can happen between now and that. I mean, Wheeler has been dominant in these 5.5 years that he's been here.
Right.
I just don't think he's been here long enough. Obviously, Roy Halladay wasn't here that long. So, in my opinion, he's above Roy Halladay. But as far as Cole Hamels' level with the Phillies, he's not quite there yet. And
so let me stop you there because let's kind of zone in on this conversation, right? Because there's so many ways we can take this. I want to have the conversation of who's the best Phillies pitcher we've seen. And no, we're not talking about for one game, right? So that's the extreme end. But we want a decent sample size. So the Roy Halladay example, and then Slim, I want to jump it over to you, is obviously he had that 2-year stretch. And I have all the stats here I'm going to go over. But who's the best Phillies pitcher we've seen? Slim, where are you at on that?
Roy Halladay is the best Philadelphia pitcher I've seen. I don't think it's even close at this point. But before all that, Wheeler was fantastic. I don't want to get too in the weeds and forget the main thing here. Let's keep the main thing the main thing. So before we start, we're coming off an amazing holiday weekend. Slim just has to ask Devo, Bones, and all the Red Riders, do you guys feel like Slim does right now with the win, with the holiday weekend? We're feeling good.
Yeah.
You're in the town where the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is at, brother. So we're gonna have to check base in that.
Oh yeah, we can go in that absolutely.
But for me, the king of my generation was Roy Halladay.
Okay.
And I think if we had a staff with Roy Halladay, Wheeler, Hamels, throw Lee in there, throw whoever else you might want to throw in there. Opening day would be Roy Halladay. Those other guys would still be looking at Roy Halladay. In my opinion, he would be the maniac, ringing the bell, doing the workouts. We've heard the stories, and unfortunately, we know the tragedy. He kind of burned himself out being a maniac. With that being said, Wheeler is a nice contrast to him because he also seems like he's kind of like, as the kids call, locked in, right?
Right.
But to answer your question,
100%. Right. So here's the thing, and you're right. I am in Cleveland, Ohio right now, and as they say, Cleveland rock. Shout out Drew Carey. He was correct on that. But here's the thing. As far as Bones, you're right. The counting stats, he's not on their level yet as far as Hamels, Schilling, all those guys. He's not quite there yet. Obviously, lefty. But my biggest thing is let me look at the 2-year stretches, right? So Roy Halladay had that 2-year stretch, 2010, 2011. Those were his back-to-back. And then he had the next 2 years, which were basically injury. And then he was unfortunately battling addiction, which we learned after the fact. And he fizzled out. But listen to these stats. Bear with me for a second. So this is Roy Halladay. 2010, 2011. 2010, he pitched 250 innings. 2011, he pitched 233 innings. So absolute workhorse. His ERA those 2 years were 2.44 and 2.33. He had back-to-back years of 219 and 220 strikeouts, followed by, here's your favorite stat, Adam, a.k.a. Bones, WAR of 8.5 and 8.8, which is ridiculous for a pitcher. So all those are ridiculous. And the thing I really want you to focus on are the innings pitch, because that's where I think he really just separates himself. To your point, Bones, this stretch, and this is where Wheeler is going to have a really good point. He's in his 6-year window right now, right? So I picked out his 2 strongest years, 2021, 2024, last year. 2021, he was second in Cy Young. Same thing with the other one, right? So he had 213 innings and 200 innings. So back-to-back 200-plus inning stretches. So from a modern-day player, he's a unicorn in that. And then his ERAs were 2.78, 2.57. Strikeouts, 244 and 224 with a WAR of 7.5 and 6.1. So both ridiculous. I think when we look back, Wheeler's going to be at the top, but I agree with you, Slim. Roy Halladay is always going to be my opening day starter. Bones, I'm sorry, back to you because I cut you off there.
No, and I think he would be the starter on any of our lineups, but to me, as best career as a Philly, it would go to Hamels for now. But Wheeler is trending in that direction. Not saying he has to pitch 10 years here in Philly to get to Hamels. Doesn't have to do that. But at least another 2, year and a half, 2 to get there for me to overtake Hamels, because Hamels was here that long and he was pretty dominant besides the 2009 year. Other than that, he was flawless here.
What was his best year as far as Cy Young? He had a top 3, didn't he?
It was probably his second or third year, I bet.
No,
or the year of the 4 aces.
2011, yeah.
But that's kind of how Hamels came in. Hopefully, Al Painter's going to come in. I remember Hamels coming up being super duper 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 hot. Maybe his second year he fell off a little bit. Then his third year he was good again, and which actually for me draws parallels to Wheeler, because Wheeler, his first couple of years here, I say that because Wheeler's first couple of years here, he had the fingernail issues, he had the blister issues, he had the fatigue arm issue. So fingernail, blisters, fatigue arm. Slim was and everyone can say it now. Clintack, when he signed him, some people were a little bit nervous. I liked Wheeler signing him, but then after that first year, I was like, I can't believe this dude does this kind of stuff with his fatigue, the blisters,
right?
And that kind of reminds me of Hamels. The reason, not because Hamels had wonky injuries, but if you remember, a young Cole Hamels told the Phillies organization that they need all the same recovery guys, equipment guys, all on the road, because the Phillies weren't bringing their whole squadron on the road back in 05, 06 in these days. And Hamels was like, if you want us to fully recover, we need to have better stuff on our road games. And so I just know that Hamels was very vocal in getting the Phillies to innovate and change their how they help their players recover while they're on the road. So that those two things kind of remind me, because Hamels had a rough year and he kind of was complaining about the Phillies not having certain things that other organizations had. And that kind of reminds me of a little bit how Wheeler can be a little stingy too, with some things that we might take as being soft. So those are the 2 points there. The only argument Bones has is 2 different conversations. Who's the best, period, and then who's the best Phillies career. You can say Hamels because the majority of his career was here. Wheeler was with the Mets for 5 years before we got him, 6 years before we got him.
Yep.
And then the second part is the World Series championship. Hamels was able to close the deal there. So those are the 2, I would say, strongest points to say that Hamels is the better Philly. I'm not sure if I would go to better pitcher, though, for sure, because to me, Hamels was always like a number 2 pushing to be a number 1. It was always that conversation, how many true aces are in the MLB? And that was kind of a conversation, because I don't think that kind of included Hamels being in that second tier. You know, he was like one of those pitchers that wasn't a true ace.
At his best, he had ace stats and stuff.
Yeah, and I just think the way that the pitcher he wasn't like a over dominant pitcher. Like didn't have the stuff to do that.
Right, and he
You
never
know what I mean?
right.
Like he wasn't like high velocity type, like Wheeler is thrown up at 98, and I mean
Right.
how they wasn't either, but he was just so good of a pitcher that he didn't need it. And
And
Hamels had to work for it a little bit more. That's pretty simple as that.
right, and I think due to that, we saw. I think what we might see, and I've seen some people float this out because we see Wheeler being very intentional and purposeful with his saying he's going to retire in 2027. And I'm nervous because I feel like he might retire. And next thing you know, he might be the next Roger Clemens, you know, pitching half a summer for the Astros or one of these states with no income tax.
Oh,
I'm
really?
calling it now. I'm calling it now. Yeah,
Okay.
he's going to leave. He's going to leave a bitter taste in our mouths.
Interesting.
I can see
That's
that.
yeah. Okay. Keep an eye on that.
I'm hoping he does it for us. I would be fine. I think that would be great. You know, give him sign him every summer, but it doesn't work. It works out better in other states. I was like, because it's a little fishy to be so out in front in your retirement. It seems superficial.
No, it is interesting. It is interesting. He's a family man, so it has a lot to do with that, which is obviously what he's referenced. But it's something to keep an eye on. And I think Bones, you're 100% right. I think both of you kind of hit the nail on the head with each of the points you made, right? So I think when it's all said and done, Bones, you're saying he's probably going to be this. He might be the second best Phillies pitcher ever, right, in the modern era when it's all said and done. And then Slim, to your point, but he's still, as far as guys that we've seen, he wouldn't ever take the ball on that first, playoff series, opening day, whatever you want to call it, because still Halladay had the durability. Halladay had like 9 complete games back-to-back years. Like, it's just, he was a different animal.
Right.
Anything else you guys want to hit on that?
Yeah, Roy Halladay leads baseball in complete games since 2014.
Ridiculous.
Right.
And he hasn't pitched. Yeah.
Yeah. And in 2014, like, he wasn't even good.
Yeah, right.
And Halladay was a classic guy. Even if he let up 3-4 runs, if he was able to, let's say he settled down, he would still go 7 innings. They weren't taking him out early to protect his ego.
100%. No, that's a great call. Yeah, it's just the innings alone is such a factor that you just don't consider as much nowadays. Like, Wheeler physically couldn't even do what Doc did. That's not to knock Tim.
Right. We brought up the innings and I brought up the arm fatigue, and we opened up. We have over unders. I think we had going preseason in the spring training. We were talking about will he have a career high in innings, because we were talking about Cy Young, and I was being nice. I think I actually went the highest. I think I said he might crack 225 or 230, right? And you guys were like, "Get out of here!" And you guys are right.
Yeah. All right, so nice little solid 15 minutes on Wheeler and Doc there. But what do you guys want to know about Cleveland? So the Red Corner sent me to Cleveland to kind of scout the Tigers and Guardians game yesterday. And I have my eye on a couple of players. You've been hearing some rumors floating around there about Quan, a little bit about Emmanuel Clase. So any questions on the Cleveland area? A lot of people like to hate on it. I'm not there.
Question is, what's the best thing? What's the best thing in Cleveland? Because what is the best thing in Cleveland? Because I remember Joakim Noah saying nobody wants to go to Cleveland.
Yeah, so this is my second stint here. I've only been here for a couple days now. First thing I would say is, it's right on beautiful Lake Erie, right? So I love the lakeside cities. So that alone is pretty cool. It's that small Midwest feel. So it's almost like an eerie feeling walking around when you're downtown, right? Because we're used to all the hustle and bustle, the homeless guy trying to borrow a couple bucks from you. Like, you don't expect that here. It hasn't been like that at all. And also it's like the vibe is, it's the downtown, and then it's like these like suburban kind of like middle America towns that you'd picture from like the sitcoms. Like, just picture all those towns surrounding the the city, like where the Kelseys are from, Cleveland Heights. It's right outside of Cleveland, so it's a cool vibe for sure. I'm not a hater.
Are the Guardians home? Are you going to be able to catch? Are you going to be able to give us a live report? You're going to be able to see some talent out there?
No, but unfortunately not. I think they're flying out to Houston
And then
today.
what's the best? Any good bar food? Any good? What are you eating out there?
I went to this place called Bottle House Brewery in the Lakewood region of Cleveland and had best chicken tenders in Ohio. So they were phenomenal. So I highly recommend head on over to Bottle House Brewery in Lakewood, Ohio. Phenomenal chicken tenders. But yeah, so the ballpark was great. Beautiful ballpark right there in the downtown central area. Got to kind of be around there. I didn't help the Guardians. They lost their 10th straight game. So no luck sent to them from the red corner. They're absolutely collapsing. So the timing of us scouting them out for a trade partner couldn't be better. So Bones, are you a fan of Class A? I know you've been talking about him for a while.
Yeah, I mean, he was like a big attraction during the off season the last couple of years, to where like
Yeah.
he might look for a deal, or that they might look to trade him, and then get
Right.
potential because he's controllable. But we'll get more of that into the our next segment of the our trade
Yes,
deadline.
the
We'll
trade
get into him,
series.
but he's a great piece, and the other one is obviously Stephen Kwan. And like you said, they lost 10 straight, so becoming more available on the market because Detroit is just running out and have everybody in that division out there. I think they're 11.5 games up in the division, so that's only a one-team race out there, and that's unusual for the AL Central when it
It
comes
is.
to division races. Usually, these teams are hovering around like 86 to 88 wins. Will get you the division, and there's like 2 or 3 of them right there. So, new territory this year with the best team in baseball out there.
Yeah, the Tigers have looked phenomenal, and it was a pleasure to see Scooble in person. That guy's an absolute stud. Like he is as advertised. But yeah, thank you for hosting the Red Corner Cleveland. It's been a nice time, and looking forward to coming back to the city of brotherly love. But it's been a nice little stay. Anything else on Cleveland before we transition to feel the love,
Do you
boys?
got anything else planned out there?
No, I don't really have a lot of time. So the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is like the main one, like Slim mentioned. Don't have time for that. I'm heading back out tomorrow morning to Philly, but got to see the ballpark, got to get some chicken tenders, and the rest was all work, no play, unfortunately. But yeah, hopefully I get to come back one time, can explore a little bit more, catch another ball game. But let's get the Feel the Love. Bones, start us off, baby. So Feel the Love brought to us by Love City Brewing, our official brewing partner. Stay tuned because we do a lot of fun events with them, watch parties, you name it. We do it with Love City Brewing. Who you got, Bones?
So my feel the love for this week goes out to the Phillies All-Star snub Trey Turner, and this guy leads the National League in hits with 107.
Mm-hmm.
I believe he's the only guy in the NL, or he was the first guy to 100 hits in the NL,
I
and
think
he
that's
did
right.
that over a week ago. And we're July 7th now. June 27th is when he got his 100th hit, and he's just one of the few snubs in the NL that happened. It just so happened to be on the Phillies. He's the leader in hits. I don't know how you leave him out. Batting 299, 22 stolen bases. Uh, they're not playing They're not playing much defense in the All Star game in any other league. I don't know if that came into a factor, but maybe maybe it did. But hopefully, not hopefully someone goes down, but maybe someone decides they're not healthy enough this week. They're going to skip the All Star game, and then Trey Turner slides in there and is able to make it there with Schwarber and Wheels. As
Yeah, and we'll talk. we'll talk more about like the all-star snubs. So we actually have a segment today for that. But no, it stinks that Turner deserved it. I mean, what else do you want the guy to do, right? Like you said, batting 300, 100-something hits. Like, it stinks. But what are you going to do? Slim, who's your field of love, baby?
I can feel the love, first off, for our country, right? Happy 4th of July. We just wrapped up the weekend. Love City Brewery. The country started in Philadelphia, right? We got the Liberty Bell as our logo. So I'm feeling the love for the great city of Philadelphia.
Good
And
call.
the person who embodies that to me is Kyle Schwarber. I got all the love in the world for Kyle Schwarber, and I got a little bit nervous there because he started out super hot. Probably one of the best hitters in baseball, if not the best hitter in baseball for the first, like, I don't know, 6 weeks there when we came out the gate. Then last week or 2 weeks ago, Rafael Devers gets traded to the NL. So now we're kind of we all know the issue with Schwarber. He doesn't play defense. So Ohtani has the one DH spot automatic every single year, which sucks for Schwarber. Just stinks. And then once Devers got traded over, Devers, I was afraid was going to get a lot of momentum on some weird stuff and maybe sneak in. Thankfully, that didn't happen, and they got it right with putting Schwarber in there. So one, I'm happy he made the All-Star game. Two, I love that the MLB got it right. And third, if you see Schwarber's comments, they asked him about the home run derby, and he said, no, not this year, but next year when we're celebrating the birthday of our country again, right? I think it's going to be the 200 birthday.
250.
The 250th birthday of the United States of America. The All-Star game is going to be in Philadelphia. Kyle Schwarber said he would love to participate. And if you're reading in between the lines, what does that mean? He would love to be back here hitting bombs for the Philadelphia Phillies because right now he's not under contract. All right, so I'm going to love – we got to sign this man, okay? Bring him back. Let's let him hit the fireworks off for the 250th birthday next year. Red Corner, we're going to be there. We're going to be there. We're going to be catching.
We're definitely going to be there.
We're going to be tracking down all his home run balls at that home run derby. He's going to set the record.
Like your boy. What's that dude's name? Bones?
Zach Hampel. I'm bringing the – and that's the other thing we're not going to get into here, but from now on, I'm bringing a baseball glove to every baseball game I go.
We'll be media credential by then next year.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
I'll have my press pass, and I'll have my black first, not just a baseball glove. I'm bringing a black first baseman's mitt.
Nice. Get a nice little scoop out off the steps or something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
That's so funny. So that guy, Zach Hampel, I love how the internet just collectively piles on people. So I didn't know. I knew that person existed. Like I knew there was a guy that did what he does. I didn't know what his name was. So that's the dude who literally, like, he has like it down to a science, right? Is that guy?
I don't know what he does, but he has like 12,000 balls or something that he caught.
Oh, so you don't know his story. So apparently what he does, again, if this is the same dude that I'm thinking of,
it is the same guy, definitely.
So he looks into like the
star.
He looks into like the analytics of where the balls are going. I believe that's what he does. Yeah, so that's why he's catching all these balls, which actually is surprising because I think that was an Oppo Boppo for Schwarber, right?
Yes.
So there's no way that there's I wouldn't. I mean, he doesn't hit most of his homers there. So, but anyway, neither here nor there. Shout out Zach Hampel.
What's his end goal? So for comparison, I've seen, we're getting in the weeds, becoming car collectors a little bit, getting our collections going. Slim was offered a book for $20. It just had a bunch of random cards in there. Slim said no. And then Slim saw a video where the dude was like, yo, you should be collecting these cards because you only really got to flip like 3 or 4 of them out of these cheapo books, and then you can make your profit back. So what is Zach Hampel's end goal here? Is he going to be selling his baseball collection in like 20 years or something? What the hell is he doing?
You got me, bro. I don't know anything about that guy. I would imagine he's, a independently wealthy dude of some sort, right? If he's got the time and money to do all this stuff, because he's not that old, right? He looks like he's in his 40s.
I hope he crushing dreams of little kids' hearts.
No.
And he's nerdy too.
he's going to open a museum and give a lot of that money back to those children.
Oh, that's too funny. The internet goes one way, Slim goes the other. He's a ample man. I love it. All right, let me get to my field of love here. So I'm sure he's been on Field of Love before. I can't keep track. The last week I said we haven't did Marsh and Bones did him the week before. But Christopher Sanchez, I mean, obviously Zack Wheeler gets all the love, and then Ranger's been ridiculous this year too. Everyone loves Ranger. He's got the swagger, he's got the song, he's got the glove. But Christopher Sanchez is an absolute stud too. The guy goes out there every fifth day, and it seems like he gives you a chance to win. Sub-3 ERA. You could argue he could have been an all-star, right, on most years. So he's a ridiculous too. I love the guy. He's the best. I put this on. I was battling with the one guy on Twitter who was doing some revisionist history on the Ranger contract. I was saying that this Christopher Sanchez deal is one of the best values in the bigs, if not the best value in the bigs. What we got him for. Like, that's one of the best deals you're ever going to see. So shout out to my boy, Christopher Sanchez. Love to see that guy succeed the way he's been doing. Let's get back here to
no, 1 sec with Sanchez.
Hit it.
I know we're going into the All-Star snubs. Well, first off, if I would have took Zach Campbell, that would have been hilarious field of love. Second, with Sanchez, I know we all love Rangers. We all know the great stats. His ERA is awesome. The balls are being the softest hit in all the MLB. But for real, with Sanchez standing up there, he's like 6'7", and those spikes. He's a huge dude. His floor is a lot higher than Ranger's floor. We've seen Ranger kind of lose it a bit, and it becomes dangerous a little bit.
Well said.
That doesn't really happen with Sanchez. And the reason Sanchez, I think. So if I had to go head-to-head, even though I'm a Ranger guy, for this season, I would have to take Sanchez because he's been there the whole season. And I think he didn't make it this year because Manfred has that Legends pick, and they threw Kershaw in, who just ascertained his 3,000th career strikeout, which we're probably not going to see again, if ever. So I think I think he took his spot.
Good shout out there. By the way, I'm curious to hear where you guys feel on this. I'm taking Sanchez over a Ranger if I'm the front. Like if you ask me, hey, who do you want moving forward? I'm taking Sanchez. Where are you guys at?
Yeah, he's healthy. He's a healthy guy.
Bingo.
I mean, we haven't really seen Ranger go the full distance. And last year he got caught up in the middle. This year he started off on the IL. So, and we hear from Topper the other day of, why'd you take Ranger out in the 5th inning? Well, he had 94. He had 6 starts in the month of June, where he went 94 pitches, and it was like pre-planned to hold them back. And then Ranger does his interview, and he was saying how he felt a little something in his back in his last start. So we're getting a little Sixers drama with the Phillies here, where we're not getting full information when it comes to injuries, and we'll probably dive deeper into that with another guy.
We're going to dive deeper into that. I'm glad you said that because I was going to say that as well. I think sometimes the journalists down there can take advantage of the translation aspect, right? Mm-hmm. Slim, I think you agree with that because they got to connect, send the team message that, hey, this is the message we're going to go with, right? And sometimes it probably doesn't get, or something gets lost in translation. So, yeah, I doubt the Phillies wanted him to put that out there. As soon as we hear Ranger and back, everyone kind of tightens up. So I hope that's not. Yeah, not what we wanted to hear there. But speaking of injuries, thank you for that layup, Bones, the segue. Let's get into Bryce Harper. So we went on a big rant about a month or so ago around the time that Harper went on the IL. It would have been mid-June. And basically saying it's not adding up here, right? Like the messaging, when he's coming back, what's hurt, what's not, it just wasn't adding up. It didn't pass the common sense test. So here we are, and let me kind of just go through his numbers really quick. So since he returned June 30th, the Padres, 5 games, he's 3 for 17, batting 176, 0 extra base hits with 9 strikeouts. So it hasn't been pretty. He obviously spoke to the media right before he came back and basically said his wrist was at a standstill, whatever that means. So, guys, what are you making with this? And put your tinfoil hats on. Feel free to give me conspiracies, whatever you're thinking. Let me start with you on this one, Slim. Where are you out on all this stuff?
Slim has to take it way back to when we were doing the parody videos, right? We saw he was doing the influencer videos. They were awesome, enjoying them. It seemed like he stopped doing those. When we were watching those videos, sometimes he seemed, I don't know, a little discontent. You know, he didn't seem like on some of those videos, he just looked tired. Like it looks like he was still battling injuries or whatever it might have been. And I say that because then once the season started, we didn't see the same child enthusiasm for the game from Bryce Harper, right? We've seen, and this has been on Twitter. Kudos to those who pointed this out. His outfits, he's dressing like it's business time instead of like a superhero or like a cartoon character like he used to. So that might mean, and it's probably overanalyzing, but it might mean he's not having as much fun. And when you're losing enthusiasm, when you're not having fun showing up to work, you're not going to be as good. And that's just the simple fact of the case. The second point is Slim was debating. I was thinking, okay, he had the arm issue or whatever it was, and this wrist issue is actually something a little bit different. It seems like it's something that's going to be chronic due to his violent swings. Well, since a month has passed, I think that violent swing argument is a load of shit, right? I'm with you now, Devo. I think there's something up that we don't know the answer to. And my third point is this. You can't blame the entire Phillies organization because if I had to put my tinfoil hat on, they probably trust Bryce Harper to give them information, right? So I would have bet before the team doctors, Bryce is his doctor first.
I get what you're alluding to. I get what you're alluding to.
At least where it gets, you know what I'm saying? He knows his body the best. Because there's going to be injuries, your neck, your back, maybe your wrist, that you're getting older and we're humans and evolution and all this stuff. We're just things start to hurt. He might be facing one of those times in his life.
Bones.
It's funny. Ben Davis was talking last week, and he was saying on WIP, like, God, these guys ain't going to want to hear this. Or right when he came back, he ain't going to want to hear this, but he might have an injury where it's only going to hurt him when he's swinging a bat.
Which he basically said.
Yeah, like he's going through the rehab, everything's good, he's doing this, doing that. But once you start swinging a bat more, that's when the pain comes back. And that's, I don't know if it's something that he should have took care of during the offseason, like you said.
Right.
Why wasn't it taken care of during the offseason if it was such a big issue going back to last year? Especially for a guy that's looking for a contract extension from the team. Like, why wouldn't he get something done about it if it's going to prolong his career?
100%. And Slim, you were alluding to this, and this is where I'm kind of at with this. And I'm not going to get. This is what I'm going to say. If we're not journalists, right? So we can play the speculation game. This is the red corner. If there was ever a situation where there was a personal matter going on, and the team didn't want people to know about it, this is the way it would be presented, right? And I'm not saying that there is anything like that going on. But what I am saying is we've seen stuff in the past where a player's got other things going on, and this is kind of the way they got to handle it, right? Whatever that other stuff is, that's a big bucket. Could be anything. So that's scenario one for me. Is there something else going on? Okay. Life happens. Number two, there's 100% something going on where I think there was a discrepancy in how he's handling it, like you said, Slim, and maybe how the team doctors wanted to handle it, because the messaging hasn't been common sense. It hasn't been passing the common sense then. So we'll keep an eye on that. I hope everything's okay, because Bryce Harper is a tough son of a bitch. So he wants to be out there. So this isn't like a Embiid thing where Embiid's just milking it, right? This is something's going on, and we got to figure it out soon, hopefully.
Yeah, it doesn't smell good, especially since he's going to be here. We're not going to be trading this guy.
Oh yeah.
If it ends up to the point where he's on another team somehow, that's a dark, dark path that I can't even
Yeah, that's not
comprehend even
happening.
thinking about. Right, exactly. So he has to be here. Yeah. And hopefully he performs. We got 6.5 more years.
We do. All right, so let us move on to where we kind of take a little visit around the league here with Around the Corner. Bones, take it away.
Here we go. And this week, Around the Corner, as always, sponsored by the Fresh Works of Port Richmond. Joe Yo and staff put together a great menu for everybody to get into, and they have great prices. Uh, Closed today, coming off the holiday. And speaking of, they got a great deal for Christmas in July. You can get a $50 gift card for just $35.
Damn.
Just this location only, the Fresh Works of Port Richmond, $50 gift card for $35. You go in the store, you can ask them part of your delivery. Um, the only thing is you can't use the gift card till August 1st. Deal ends on Christmas in July 25th. So if you're a last minute shopper at Christmas time, you can be a last minute shopper here with this one too. July 25th is the last day for that one. And this week, we're going to go around a couple ace pitchers coming back off the IL. One coming back tonight out in San Diego. Yu Darvish is going to take the hill. He's been battling shoulder injuries for the year. He's coming back tonight for the Padres just before the All-Star break. He had a little setback like a month or so ago, so he got ramped up in the last couple weeks. He's back tonight, and the other one this weekend, probably Friday or Saturday, and this has big implications for the Phillies because it's Kodai Senga of the New York Mets, and we all know how the Mets rotation has been struggling of late. Got hit with a couple injuries with what's his name, Griffin Gannon, tore his
That's right.
Achilles right on the mound. So that's going to be a big help. He was one of the best pitchers in baseball before he went down this year on a kind of free play too for the Mets. So that's the first one. The second one is this has to do with the Phillies Bat Boy. Their MLB is having a vote to get 2 Bat Boys and 2 Ball Girls to the All-Star game this year. And
Oh, cool.
the Phillies Bat Boy has been nominated, and if you go on, we'll post a link on our socials and all that. If you follow the website, you can show like one of the catches the kid makes. But the big thing is he's a leukemia survivor, right? He became the Phillies Bat Boy while he was battling. I think it was like after leukemia. He raised over $80,000 for leukemia and the Lymphoma Society while he's being the Phillies Bat Boy.
The kid did.
Yeah.
Wow. Do you happen to have his name or not?
Yep.
Not to put you on the spot. Yeah. Okay. Give him a shout out.
Adam Crognell. Phillies
Shout out
Bat
to
Boy.
him.
So I'm not sure how long the voting goes. Probably this week because the All-Star game is next week. So I'd say probably like Friday or something. But we're gonna post this on our socials. We're gonna get this kid to the All-Star game.
Oh, that's an
As he
awesome
should
one.
be.
Yeah, vote for Adam, man. That's an awesome call. So that's a slam dunk.
And that's this
Awesome.
week's edition of Around the Corner.
All right, brought to you by the Fresh Works of Port Richmond. They are the official tailgate food provider for the Red Corner. Make sure you support them because they show us a lot of love over there. Great people.
No
Great
doubt. And
people.
Slim, if you're again with the works, Slim gets the text messages straight to his phone. You can sign up and you get the deal sent straight to your phone. And I think from now on, once I get those texts, I'm going to start blasting them on my story. So if you ever want to see if the Works is having a special, just come check it out. And they're always doing wing deals because we know the chicken wing prices have been skyrocketing like everything else. Always doing wing deals, always doing like Bone says, buy 30, get $25 more, those kind of deals. Yeah, always doing deals for all the holidays too. It's always Father's Day, Fourth of July, Labor Day is going to be coming up, right? Labor Day is coming up. It's going to be fast.
Fantasy football drafts.
Fantasy football
Fantasy
draft,
football drafts.
big
Oh, yeah,
one, right
that's
around the
big.
corner, coming up. All right, and the Works are going to have them. It will be nice. The wings will be nice and crispy for you. Yeah, I just can't say enough.
And do they have a red corner dog on their menu coming up? Maybe. We'll see about that. We will see about that. Let us transition here. Let's go back to the big heads. Let's get over to all-star snubs, right? So, Bones, I want to let you kind of take the floor here. Just lay out the Phillies all-stars, who you think the snubs are. Talk a little bit about the process.
So a couple years ago, the Phillies, Major League Baseball changed the process. All before it used to be popularity contest.
Right.
Still is for the starters. Um, what they'll do is they'll do 2 rounds of voting from June 4th to June 26th this year it was. So they did 2 rounds of voting. The top vote getters in each league automatically become starters for their position. So this year it was Aaron Judge for the AL and Shohei Ohtani for the NL. Right field and DH, right? So after that, the top two from each position other than them are put into another round of voting. Only goes a couple days. The winner of that goes towards becomes the starter for the NL, and then the players and the managers from around the league pick the all-star reserves and pitchers. Right. So this year,
Thank you for that.
couple all-star snubs. We got Trey Turner. Oh, also the other key component of this is every team has to have a representative in the All-Star game.
Right.
And Phillies dealt with this years back when they stunk. Even though they stunk, they had to send somebody, right?
Yeah.
And Ricky Bo had to be that somebody in 1996 when the All-Star game was here.
Wow.
Shout out Ricky Bo.
Catching some strays there, Ricky Bo.
But Trey Turner, obvious selection. We already talked about him for the Phillies. Hopefully, somebody decides they're going to pull out. Christopher Sanchez, Ranger Suarez from the rotation standpoint.
Right.
And there's another rule, like if a pitcher pitches on Sunday, they can't pitch in the All-Star game. So somebody's going to be taking their spot. And I'm sure, haven't looked into it, somebody's probably going to be pitching Sunday to where Sanchez or Suarez is going to be taking somebody's spot. Yeah, for sure. But there's other ones. Juan Soto. I mean, this guy was on the torrent June. His OPS is over 900 now. Frank the Tank was killing him all year. Didn't hear much from him in June. He led the league, and I think he led the National League in homers that month for June. And go over to the AL. A resurrecting guy was George Springer. Signed a big deal with Toronto a few years back. Hasn't really lived up to potential. This year, he's living up to the potential. 16 homers, 281 average, OPS to 886, and he's got his team in first place in the AL East, and he was impressive. A big part of that on Canada Day last Tuesday. Big grand slam against the Yankees, and that just started a whole downward spiral for the Yankees just before this All-Star break. So that's one of the bigger ones. There's plenty out there. You can go anywhere where there's going to be snubs, and
there's going to be snubs.
About it, and it just so happened. Like I just think they got to get rid of this. Like, why should somebody from, not taking anything away from Hunter Goodman, but the Rockies are 20 and whatever, shouldn't have a
Right.
representative in the All-Star game.
I hear what you're saying there, Bones, but there's two things. One, I think the voting has gotten overcomplicated. And two, I know a lot of people want to modernize the rosters, but I still like the old school rosters, even if it feels like effort trophy, participation award type, because if you were the Rockies, they sell out. They had like 40,000 people. They just played, I think, like, I forget who they just played this past weekend, but they had a crowd that was bigger than any Phillies crowd. So these teams and these fans kind of do deserve to have someone to cheer for, right? In my opinion, I do like the idea of every team having a representative.
I'm actually with you on the every representative thing. I think we got to somehow get away from look, the fan vote is an obvious marketing thing, right? It helps us be involved, and when you're younger, it's really fun. When we were growing up, we used to always go and do the little punch hole voting things. Like that was a lot of fun. So I see both sides of it. I wish it was a little bit more of a meritocracy, where it's based off of absolute performance to a certain extent. It's never going to be a perfect system. It's not as bad as like the NBA was, right, where it was kind of just pure popularity contest back in the day. But anyway, I think the biggest snub is Trey out of the biggest names. I think he deserved it, particularly over Ellie. Obviously, these are all really good players, but I thought Trey's having a better year. So I think he should be an all-star.
Well, that's the one thing. I think De La Cruz, he is the lone representative for the Reds.
There you go. Okay, so it creates a little bit of a log jam.
Yeah.
I got you. Okay, good point. So good counter to that. All right.
Let's cheer for these guys to be the first replacements, like Bones was saying.
100%. So before we get to Slim Pick'ems and talk about some of those locks that Slim has waiting for you, I want to talk about this guy that we've talked a lot about on our socials, right? Andrew Painter, Phillies top pitching prospect. We've been talking about him since October. We've been excited about him, right? So let's kind of have a State of the Union. It's been kind of underwhelming, right? Obviously, he hasn't done anything yet in a Phillies uniform, but we're also probably at the point where we were maybe thinking, we're going to be a couple of weeks away from him. He's been struggling a little bit in the minors recently. So where are we at on Painter? Let's start with you on this, Slim.
So I think we're right on schedule, right? I know people are getting a little anxious, but it's only July 7th. The All-Star break's here. We knew July was going to be the time frame, and all right, odds are I think we still might see him before August. So I think we're right in the time frame that we're at. The reason I'm saying August, and I might seem a little optimistic, is the only real criticism I'm hearing is that he's not as good right now. The remedy to that is have one good outing. I'm sure he'll have one soon, and then you bring him right up. It'll be, he hasn't forgotten how to pitch. His ERA across all his starts in a minor league is fantastic. We know what his stuff is. We know he has 5 pitches. It seems like, at least for my scouting reports, it seems like all 5 are basically MLB ready type pitches. We know he throws like 98, 99 miles per hour, maybe 100 miles per hour. You guys know what? I do think he's going to be up here soon. I think he's going to be getting starts. I think they're going to let Walker get one more start for Nola. And then we'll wait till after the All-Star break. There's no reason to rush things. I do think his approval rating's down across the league. I do think that maybe he could be susceptible and include it in a trade if we were bringing back a real big fish.
That'd be a really big fish.
It will be a real big fish. It'll be one of the biggest fishes the Phillies ever brought back. Yeah, but besides that, I do think he's going to get a couple starts, and I do think ultimately he'll end up in the bullpen this year and helping us hopefully win a World Series.
Bones, what about these comments that Dombrowski and Topper have kind of made? You put any stock in that?
I don't put any stock in it. Listen, I think it was like 4 or 5 starts, Mick Abel and Andrew Painter were starting on the same night. for like 4 to 5 starts. I think sucks that Abel went down back to the minors. He stunk for a little bit there. I think they were just setting him up for after the All-Star game. They got a home series against the Angels, which we'll be at our next tailgate next Friday, July 18th. And then the Boston Red Sox come into town. I could see him playing. It's middle of the week. It's a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday series, or Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday series. Pitch him one of them games. You don't want to send him up to the Bronx the next game for his first start.
No.
I think he does it down here against the Red Sox, and we go from there. I think he's coming back.
So you're talking about Painter right now.
Oh yeah, I'm talking about Andrew Painter, baby.
You're thinking Painter's making his debut in like 2 weeks.
Yep,
he's actually on schedule. I'm with
against
Bones.
the Red Sox.
I would love to see that. And
Yep.
Here's a couple other things, because now you're reminding me, since you went a step further than me, because I was kind of thinking, let him have one good start. The Walker things that tell, that Abel stat's awesome. I didn't even know that, Bones. So thank you for letting me know. I know the listeners are going to love it. And people wanted to have him start this series versus the Giants, right? I've heard that out there. It's not happening, so I guess people are a little bit nervous. The Boston series, Bones, is that on the road?
No, it's at home.
It's at home. Is there something to having making your debut on the road, though, Bones? I think even though it might seem odd, I feel like young talent might be better off getting a road start first and then coming home, to where the home crowd might be a little bit extra pressure. What do you think? Or, I mean, I don't know. Maybe it doesn't matter.
I think it would give him like an energy boost, because the way I wouldn't start him against the Yankees in his debut, because that's like a whole nother animal.
They're not hitting.
There.
They're not hitting.
But after the All-Star game, they might be.
Yeah.
So that's like a whole nother animal. And then you're talking about making a start on the road after that Yankee series.
Yeah, that Yankee series would be awesome.
They're playing the White Sox. He might as well go back to the minor leagues and start there. They're going to have a bigger crowd at them games. And say, all right, we'll call that my major league debut. So that's what I'm going to be facing in Chicago.
Yeah, but against the White Sox, the coaches could be like, you know what, Painter, do what you do. This is what we do. We have breakfast. We warm up at 2:00, whatever. Get yourself your routine going, and just do what you always do. If you're playing the Yankees or the Red Sox, it might be, all right, here's a scouting report. You got to do this here. You might have to do that here. There's going to be more maybe preparation to the minuscule details of the hitters compared to the White Sox, where you can just get used to that everyday routine stuff, right?
True.
No, great point. I think to answer your question, the biggest thing is like, hey, is it a hitter's ballpark? Is it not a hitter's ballpark? Does that lineup have a lot of good lefties, a lot of good righties? Like all that stuff's going to go get factored into who he debuts against, I would imagine. But we'll see. I'm excited to hear you say that, Bones, because honestly, where I was kind of, and I'm not trying to be a wet blanket on this, because no one's more excited about. We haven't had a prospect like this, a right-handed prospect pitcher, in a really long time. With this ceiling. So my thing is, I just would have loved if he was just lighting things up in Lehigh Valley. You know what I mean? So you had that kind of confidence that this is like a plug-and-play type thing. Because the reality is, he should be pitching better than what he is right now. Yeah. So there is a reason to kind of go, what's going on there? We won't obsess over it too much, but that's definitely a fact. And I think that's why Dombrowski made those comments. Like, he's got to earn his spot. But there's definitely some chess going on for sure. All right, guys. Let us transition now to everybody's favorite gambling segment on the show, Slim Pick'ems.
Yo, what's up? Slim Pick'ems, brought to you by D-Town Dental and Warminster Dental Associates. They are smiles ahead of the competition, just like Slim and his partners 500 are miles and smiles ahead of their competition. And for those of you who have been following along both on Twitter and on the show, we've been focusing the last 2 weeks. The first point I was making out to all my partners is opportunity. baseball provides the most opportunity. Simple concept. The second one was value. Okay, we don't want to be paying a price to play. We don't pay a price to play. And before I get in all my picks, I want to get into this because if you're reading the headlines, you may have seen that included in the big beautiful budget bill that was passed was some different tax regulation on gambling winnings. Okay, some people this let me just get something straight. If your system collapses due to a tax code, you didn't have a system to begin with. All right. Plain and simple. That's all I want to say. To those who don't really know what I'm talking about, basically the people that are upset, they're getting taxed 90%. They can only deduct 90% of their losses instead of 100% of their losses. And what this does is it does shrink the market because what happens is trust fund babies and people who have a ton of money, they can flood the they can flood the market and not even pick a side. They pick both sides and on different sites, different casinos, and then they just hedge the middle. So they're not making picks, they're not making plays. What they're doing is just manipulating money and bringing back small returns. They'll throw millions out there and bring back a couple 100,000 and not pick a side. They're middler, they're hedgers, okay? And what's happening is they're going to get taxed on top of that even more. People like Slim, as soon as it went to a website, you're getting taxed off the bat, right? So that's why you go to casinos and bet cash, right? And you're already paying the vig. It's a double taxing. So this was a problem as soon as it went live. Okay, so everybody pause. All right. And again, let me shout out D-Town Dental and Warminster Dental Association because again, like Slim, we're smiles and miles ahead of the competition. And if you've been paying attention, Slim we're in the plus now. I just had a 12-unit week, a 9-unit weekend. We're smashing. All right.
How do you think I got to Cleveland? Slim financed that.
And how do you think the Slim beers are being paid for? But long story short, today is Monday, July 7th. Today's card, as always, all -1.5, all 1 units. We got the Tampa Bay Rays +140, Toronto's even. Miami Marlins, if you're paying attention, they're my new darlings. I think they have a chance. Miami Marlins +180, Texas Rangers +130, Dodgers +130, Philadelphia Phillies +130. If you're listening to this tomorrow, check my Twitter. There's going to be a recap on there, and there'll be Tuesday picks there as well. But you already know if these loses, we're doubling down with the 2 units. All right, so Slim Pick'ems. And before I go, I buried the lead. Slim buried the lead. Slim is currently 80 and 155. But he's plus 32.50 units, okay? I haven't won a parlay yet. I'm 0 for 9, -4.75 units, and I haven't won a prop yet. I'm 0 for 1. But that's not what we're here for. We're here for the opportunities. We're here to have big, white, pearly white, smiling teeth, okay? So follow along. We're going to be paying these dentist bills in cash. Let's get it. We're going to be out 50 units before the All-Star break. Let's get it.
The Marlin Darlings. Love to hear that, Slim. And Slim's kind of going on a little bit of a victory lap here. A lot of people were making fun of those win-loss records, but as he just broke it down, he's up units on the year. And like our dental partner, Slim is smiles ahead of the competition.
Yes, I'm sorry if I got anyone lost in the details there, but there's a lot of sauce. I'm trying to just, I don't want to water it down for you. You know, I don't want to water it down for my partners. This is built on trust, okay? It's built on trust.
Amen. That was awesome. So, boys, this is a nice tight hour tonight. Before we close down the show like we always do with On This Day in Phillies History, how are we? Any closing thoughts? How are we doing? We got a big week here coming ahead. We got the Padres again, and then the Giants coming up. Right, nice trip out west before the All-Star break. What are we kind of closing thoughts before we close things down?
For me, I know that the Phillies, due to the pitching, they routinely win seems like every series 2-3 somehow. You know, there's always 1 or 2 games that look ugly. We always go in spurts, but we never lose. So to me, I know we are basically
lose.
Well, it seems like that. It seems like we get on rolls where we don't lose series off.
I know what you mean.
I had to stop myself because we have had losing streaks.
The Astros beg to differ, right? But I know what you mean.
We are an excellent regular season team. That has been proven the last 4 or 5 years. Now it's time to get healthy, get to the All-Star break, and to bring in an everyday player, an everyday bat that's going to help us get over the mark and be an excellent playoff team now. All right, we got to return to the World Series. We got to get to the All-Star break healthy. We know we're excellent, but now it's time to find out who's going to be on the bus and what seats are they going to be sitting in, because now it's time to go straight to Red October.
Love it. Bones, what do you got for us, baby?
Funny you brought up the Phillies never lose. So I was going to say they haven't won a series in San Francisco since 2013.
Yeah, they had our number.
We got Sanchez tonight and Suarez tomorrow. Am I right there? You know, one of them is
Suarez, Luzardo.
Luzardo, you might.
Correct.
Or no, Walker tomorrow. Then
Correct.
Luzardo. No, not Suarez.
All right, so Slim is banking on either Sanchez or Suarez coming through tonight or tomorrow at plus value. No doubt about it. How can you beat
tomorrow?
Or Sanchez or Suarez, you said tomorrow.
No, it's Walker Luzardo.
Oh. All right, that changes things. So Slim is banking on Sanchez tonight at plus 140.
So disregard his picks earlier. No, I'm just kidding.
No, 300 tomorrow with Walker on the mound.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Tomorrow we'll have a 2-unit banger on Walker on something juicy.
Love it. Close things down here for us, Bones.
So it's funny we brought up the All-Star game and like Snubs. On this date, 2005, Bobby Abreu won the inaugural extra person vote. Like they had it was the 5-person vote for the last spot on the All-Star team. Bobby Abreu won that, and that was like complete fan vote. I think it was like 4 days long, and then it was announced that Bobby Abreu won it. And then the other one was on this date, 2009. Phillies lost to Cincinnati Reds 4-3, but the big story was the Phillies sold out that game, and it was the first game of 250 consecutive sellouts at Citizens Bank Park.
Wow, it
was a good time to be alive back then.
That run was ridiculous, unlike any other, man. Is that everything, Bones?
That's it. That's all I got.
A couple of quick things here. First of all, if you're still here with us, thank you, and please hit that subscribe button. The other thing I forgot to mention this. If you look at the top right corner there, right, that you'll notice now we've kind of taken a little different direction with that. That's going to be called our little mystery box. So we're going to have different topical things in there. Like last week we need a little something in there. So that's going to be a nice little wink to our OG Red Riders. So we're going to be creative and different things that are popping up we're going to put in there. So you'll keep an eye on that, and you'll see different themes that pop up in our little red corner, our red box there, or the red corner. I guess that's kind of low-hanging fruit there. But other than that, stay tuned. We have a tailgate coming up, like Bone said, on the 18th. Yep. We have some more trade deadline series coming. We have a ton of content coming. Keep an eye on Slim and Bones on Twitter. They've been really active, including myself. So we're going to be with you guys every day this week. So go Phils. Let's get a big West Coast trip, and we'll see you next time.